Hi folks. Well, if you live out in the country, you know you absolutely need to have a generator. You never know when you're going to have power outages. You never know when you may need power at a remote location. And if you're doing something that, say, a battery operated tool just isn't heavy enough that you need a corded one, generator comes in handy. I know batteries are getting a whole lot better. Battery power tools are getting a whole lot better, but this, and you know that I have done previous videos about the piece of junk Champion generator that I had that is now in my scrap metal pile because I got sick and tired of fooling around with it. So I knew we needed another one, and this is maybe a year or so ago. I found this one on Amazon. It's a 5500 watt dual fuel, or what they call a hybrid generator. I'll explain that in a second. And it was reasonably priced and free shipping. Poor UPS people or FedEx people, I can't remember who brought it. It was a little bit heavy for them to handle, and I had to put it together a little bit. It came with a set of wheels. Some generators don't, and it also has two handles here that flip up to transport it, to make it like a wheelbarrow. Now, we used this for the first time back in February. We had a snowstorm that really didn't dump a whole lot of snow. I think we got 7-8 inches. But it was heavy, wet snow, and there were massive, massive power outages in our area, our part of the state. Thousands and thousands of people were without power, not because of one or two incidents, but because of all these trees all over the place that were tearing wires down. So as a result, we were without power here for about 3 days. Now, you know that living in the country, the independence is great, but if you're in a situation where you have no power for that long, it can be difficult. So I got this generator hooked up and ready to go and filled the tank with gas. I had put some gas in prior just to test it and run it every once in a while, but I hadn't filled it up. And started it, and it ran, I think the first day I started at maybe 9 in the morning and went till 3 in the next morning because I was trying to keep it going as long as possible. I didn't want to go to sleep and leave it running, of course, and I didn't have it in the house. I had it outside of the house under a covered, like a covered alcove, so that any exhaust gases wouldn't affect anybody. And then ran extension cords into what we were using. Now with this 5500 watt, well, let me show you a little bit about what this particular one, this Duramax, comes with. It has two 110 plugs. It also has a 30 amp 220, which I haven't used. There's a switch that you can toggle from if you're going to use 220 or 120. Or 240, whatever, 110, 220, however you want to call it, single phase or two phase. Main breaker switch, and then a VU meter. It also shows you, I forget where it is here, shows you how much it's putting out so that you know it is working. And it is dual start. It has a battery for electric start, and then of course it also has pull start over here. I'll show you that a little more in a second. Haven't needed the pull start because the battery did, well, actually I did it first because the battery wasn't charged up fully, so I pull started it to get it going, and then since it started with the electric start, no problem, which is great because that was my main problem with that Champion. It just refused to start. As I said, dual fuel, which means it will also take propane. You can see here's an inlet to hook up a propane tank. It came with a connecting hose. I haven't used the propane feature on it yet. I probably should test it just to be sure, but when we needed it, just needed it, so gas was easier to put into it. But it's good to know we can use the propane should we run out of gas or propane becomes cheap or whatever. I don't think it produces quite as much wattage with propane as it does with gas, but it would still work. With this, I had the two plugs put in. We were able to keep some things working in the house, like the TV, the blower fans for the wood stoves, because it was cold. I mean, even if the blower fans weren't working, the radiant heat would have still kept us warm enough, but the blower fans made it better. Some lights, plugged in the refrigerator. I alternated plugging in my freezers. It was cold enough I didn't need to keep them in all the time. Had the router and the modem for the internet hooked up, and we had computers, a number of things, microwave, and so on. So we managed to get by for a few days that way, fairly comfortably. We weren't cold, we had lights, we could cook to some extent, and this just did the job for us. I was happy with it. It was under $500. I don't remember exactly how much anymore, but if you're looking for a smaller one, this is a good bargain. I've never heard of Duramax before. It had a good rating on Amazon, so I thought I'd try it, and I will show you it in operation here in just a second. I won't bother to plug everything in and show you that, because it does work. I wouldn't tell you that if it didn't. There'd be no point in promoting it. The oil fill is down here. If you look there, I don't know if I'm pointing at it or not, that little silver plug is the oil plug. Haven't had to change the oil in it yet because I haven't run that many hours off of it. But it did run basically for the better part of 3 days. I stopped it at night, 2 nights, for a few hours, 4 or 5 hours, while we were sleeping, but started right up the next day. And in the hours, what's 9 in the morning till 3 in the morning, I can't calculate that quick in my head. That many hours I did not go through a full tank of gas. Even in the morning when I went to refill it, there was still some gas in the tank. So it was fairly efficient. Didn't have to worry about in the middle of the day, oh crap, the generator went out, now I got to go refill it again. Here is the pull start on here, and also the other controls. The air filter is there. They had these neat little instruction guides on here to remind you how to start it and maintain it and so on if you forget from time to time, because generators aren't something you normally use regularly, but when you need them, you need them. So basically, it's got an on-off switch here for the fuel, so that your fuel is turned off when you're not using it. You just turn it like this, and your fuel is on. Here's your choke. You start with the choke closed, and then after it's running, you open the choke, of course. And then instead of pull, you can either kick it 1 notch to hand start it, or you can use the electric start here on the switch. And I have the breaker off, so we're good. Nothing else is plugged in. You don't want to start one of these up with things plugged in if you can help it. You don't want any power surges or anything like that. So, all right, so we'll see how we go. And then to stop it, and then I will close the fuel valve again because I'm not using it now. Push the choke over so it's in the start position. So very efficient, very easy to use. If you're in a place where you have city water or a gas line coming in for heat, if you're not too far out in the country, this would be adequate for your house to keep you comfortable during a power outage. It'll keep your refrigerator cold, freezer cold, lights on. If you have natural gas, that means you should be able to have your hot water heater working for you. And if you have city water, then it's based on pressure in the line. You don't need a pump. Now that's my problem here. That was our problem with losing power. My well pump is 220, so I had no way to get power to the pump that would have been adequate with this little generator. Nor did I have hot water in the I have electric hot water heater. So those are the drawbacks that I had. But if you don't have to worry about those things, this size would be adequate for the average home to keep you going in the event of a power outage. And with everything that's going on in the world today, the reliability of the power companies might not be what they used to be. So this is a good investment in my mind. So like I said, we got through it no problem. It worked perfectly. And obviously we haven't used it for years, but on the front end here I'm happy with it, and I'd recommend it for you if you need something like this. So thank you for watching. Please like and subscribe as we continue to live out in the country on a shoestring.